Alright guys, hey, this is an Edie Brickell new Bohemian song called The Wheel. It's interesting, well, I love the new Bohemians, but and I love that first record even though they fired the drummer and changed the name, but still the record holds up. But this, I never thought to try to learn their songs, even though I love that record, but I just recently saw them play this at the Lock-In Festival, and I'll put a link to that. And I saw Kenny play the tune mostly like this. This is a B. The tune is in B minor, and it's purely in B minor. Every chord's in B minor. Every note of the melody's in B minor. But what's interesting about that is the fact that there are like 3 or 4 different parts, including a middle 8 that starts on a D, which makes it very interesting because, you know, a lot of songs that I'm looking at, well, Beatles songs specifically, they do a lot of what you might call, I mean, I don't know enough about modes, and I probably should learn more about modes, but they do a lot of, I don't know what you call, you know, mostly in A, but then they'll veer into E for 1 bar or 2, which is cool. I love that, and I'd like to know more about that. But this particular tune called The Wheel is in B minor, purely in B minor, every chord, every note, yet they managed to develop like 3 or 4 different parts, which is really cool. But anyway, let's start with the intro. The intro is on a B minor 7 shape. And at that Lock-In Festival, I saw Kenny play it like this. Here's the main verse. I just thought that was fascinating to play that A. It's really a type of A, I should have looked it up. But with that B minor, you still have that D, and what is that? It's on the D, D, E, F sharp. So you still have that D and F sharp in this open A. I'm not sure what that is. It's probably like an A11 or something. But that gives the, you know, the tune has, and most of this record has this, you know, this very ethereal quality, and that really gives, I can see where that comes from when you play, instead of going, you know, I mean, you could play it like that and it would still sound okay. Somewhere there's somebody who looks just like you do, acts just like you do, feels the same way. But the way Kenny played it at Lock-In, and I'm just assuming that would be how he played it on the record, it has a more ethereal feel during the verse and throughout most of the song, where it's like, somewhere there's somebody who looks just like you do, acts just like you do, feels the same way. Somewhere there's a person in a faraway place with a different name, but a face that looks like. Here comes the intro. Now, even I mess up this so often, but it's based on the same shape as the verse. It's like, okay, it's like an arpeggio with the main accents. This is the intro, and this comes in also 3 or 4 more times at the end of 2 verses and at the end of a chorus. It sort of is the anchor of the song, but it goes here. Okay, here it is in sort of slow motion. It's like this. So even then, I didn't play it totally perfectly, but the main thing is this. I'll play it without the arpeggio. It's F sharp. So it's F sharp, D, E. Back to F sharp. No. And then you catch this A. And the last part goes open, this 6-string open E. A, D, B, B, A, D, B, B, B. So, I mean, if you're in a band and the bass player's playing the A and the B, you could get away with just playing the notes themselves. So I'm gonna fire up my my iMac, so I can get some. So it's F sharp, D, F sharp, D, E. No, F sharp, D, F sharp, D, F sharp, D, E, A, F sharp, D, E. And then, you know, Kenny in the live performance, and I'll put a link, like I said, I'll put a link. You know, he plays the arpeggio version, which you're accenting that melody. And, you know, it took me a few hours to kind of get this. And even now, if I play it live, I'll probably mess it up. But you accent the melody while you play the some arpeggio notes, especially the bass note of B to A. So I'll just play like, here it goes. Bum, 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 bum. I'm playing the sixth string. I'm playing my pinky. Sometimes I play my middle finger or my ring finger, depending on the guitar. On this guitar, because it's a relatively small guitar, my middle finger hits that fifth string better. So I'm playing that fifth string with my middle finger while I'm playing the arpeggio with my thumb. So it's like. I picked up a bigger dreadnought I have the other day, and my middle finger would not hit that. It would only hit the fourth string. So I had to go to the ring finger to pick that fourth string. Okay, so that sums up the intro riff, and that riff comes in 3 or 4 more times. The main song riff is much easier. You're just strumming this. You're strumming this, and I'll try to do it in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Somewhere, so that's a B minor 7 shape, and you just take the bar off, so you're hitting that A, mainly that A bass note, and you're getting a sort of, you know, weird, funky A chord, which gives that ethereal feeling. So it's somewhere there's somebody who looks just like you do, acts just like you do, feels the same way. Somewhere there's a person in a faraway place with a different name who looks and acts like, here comes the, who looks and acts like you. Here's second verse. So that intro anchored the ending of the first verse. Second verse goes same thing. Do you think about who it... Okay, here's one other thing. I don't know if Kenny does this really. Some part of me likes the sound of the mid, and it doesn't matter really, but like the middle of that second of the A chord, that I take that ring finger off and let that B ring instead of the D. So like this. Do you wonder who it might be? See that little strike there? It's like the second half of the second part of the verse. It's like, do you wonder who it might be? Somehow, to my ear, that sounds better, but it may not be the way they play it, either live or on the record. Do you think about who it might be? Do you wonder where you are in a distant foreign country, riding round in another car? Okay, here comes the chorus. First chorus. The chorus is based on the same thing as the verse, but it's more choppy and it's more full. Instead of a B minor 7, you get just a B minor, and it's real choppy, and you get an A instead of a pure A. I'm borrowing it, but you get a pure A instead of a an ethereal A. So it's like, so the wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. The wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. So after that first chorus, which is choppy and more accented, you get that intro riff again. And then it goes back into the third, which is really the last verse. And it's like, so it's like, this third verse, all your thoughts are in a different head. Your dreams are sleeping in another bed. The force that moves you is a circular breath of life and death going round and round and round. And then repeat the chorus with this choppy, basically the same harmonics, but just a less ethereal, more choppy. The wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. The wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. Okay, then yes, you hit this G. You could hit the full G, but I kind of like this open where you're just hitting the bass note. And this is when it kicks into the cool, I guess you would call it a middle eight or a bridge that starts on a D chord. So, I mean, you're in B minor. You might say the song switches to D major during this middle eight, because it does become brighter. Although, D major and B minor are basic. It's the relative minor to D, so they have all the same chords and the same notes. So I'm not sure how to look at that. But, so you have the break after that second chorus, and then after that sort of, this G that sort of is the connective chord between that. And so it has this cool middle eight that goes, maybe you, what's the words? Catch another wave. So that's D, E, A, B minor 7, G. Maybe you catch another wave. And you just sit on that, and it has one more verse. Or maybe you see another ray of the sun. See, it goes G to A. That I've just begun to E minor feel. And then it goes into, what would you call this? There's an intro, there's a verse, there's a chorus, that's the third part. There's a middle eight, it's the fourth part. No, intro 1, verse 2, chorus 3, middle eight 4. So this is a fourth what do you call it, section of the song. So it goes like, that's F sharp minor to G, back and forth and back and forth, back and forth, A9, I think you could do it, around it, back to the original riff, go. And then it kicks into the solo section. I don't know this. I The solo doesn't sound that hard to play. It's just some kind of, but I think it's over just 8 bars of the verse. No. And then Kenny will play some kind of solo over that, which shouldn't be hard. I mean, if you're playing this solo like you're busking, even just playing this has enough musicality to it. Or if you had a harmonica, maybe a D harmonica, you could play something that would fill up the solo part. I'll try to figure out the solo part some other time, but it's not, it's not something that's probably very difficult, especially when it comes to Kenny Withrow's, a total badass guitarist. So you have the solo part, and then after, I would say 8 bars of the solo, I have to listen to it again, maybe there's 16 bars. Then you come back into the chorus, you do the chorus twice, and you do that 5th part, and then it ends on the intro. So I'll double the chorus. I'll do the last chorus, which is twice. So it's like this. The wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. The wheel keeps on turning and turning, turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. Didn't do that right. The wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. The wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning, and nothing's disturbing the way it goes around. I think it goes to that G. Back and forth and back and forth, back and forth. A9, it goes. And that's how it ends. Okay, I think I've got everything in there. I think I'll do a separate video, since this one's so long, of just me performing the song straight through, and I'll just put it right under this. But hopefully this will get you there. It's a great song. I love all the songs on that. I'd like to try to do all the songs on that album. That's one of those few albums, and that was a weird time, the late 80s, but that whole album is just great. You can just, and it still stands up. Even without the original drummer. It'd been a way better album had it been the original drummer, But back in the late 80s, that was, programmed drums was just all the rage, and these big booming drums. But anyway, the album still stands up. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.